The last of these pyramid tombs was completed around AD 340. Then came a time of change. Meroe disappeared, and after the middle of the 6th century, this old civilization underwent another transformation, and one that brings us closer to our own world. From the north, Christianity spread south into the lands of Nubia. This was once the far-famed monastery of St. Simeon, near Aswan. The faded frescoes on the chapel roof can only hint at its past magnificence. But in the 1960s, by a stroke of great good fortune, the full glory of medieval Nubian painting was suddenly revealed. The story behind the finding and the saving of these wonderful mural paintings is almost a miracle. As the waters of Lake Nasser rose to engulf the old Christian Nubian city of Faras, archaeologists managed to dig down to the level of the long-buried walls of its cathedral founded in AD 707. Pulling away the dry sand, they saw what nobody had seen for centuries, these paintings, and removed them in the nick of time. Now safely in Khartoum Museum, they glow once again with their distant message of art and piety. The Christian civilization of Nubia was one of wealth and comfort. A visitor in the 10th century, Ibn Salim al-Aswani, described the city of Soba, one of Christian Nubia's 3 capitals, as having fine buildings, spacious houses, churches with much gold, and cool, delightful gardens. He might well have added priceless works of ecclesiastical art. Splendidly preserved by the dry sand, these figures take us directly to the heart of Nubian Christianity. Here is the nativity scene with the Virgin and the Archangel Gabriel portrayed in the conventional style and unnatural skin color of the Byzantine church, from which, of course, the Nubians took their beliefs. Over here are the 3 kings of Orient riding to Bethlehem, one of them clearly an African, and down here is a Nubian princess looking, I must say, very much like the Nubians look today. These are portraits of Nubian bishops. 25 of them were listed in Faras Cathedral as having succeeded one another from the 8th to the 11th centuries. The line might have stretched right up to the present day, so settled and secure did Christian Nubia appear. But it was not to be. This monastery did not simply fall into decay. It was sacked by the Saracens in the year 1172. The origins of that disaster lay not with the Christian Nubians, who'd been at peace for centuries with their Muslim neighbors to the north. The origins lay in Europe. The first of the great crusades, whose purpose was to recapture the holy places from the Muslims, set out in the year 1096. Many knights fought for God's purposes. Many others fought for those of Mammon. As one crusade followed another, those first high purposes became corrupt. The holy cause turned into a reckless rush for loot. Very soon they provoked a massive reaction. A holy war of Islam was launched under a brilliant Saracen general, Saladin. From his great citadel in Cairo, Saladin set out to crush not only the European invaders, but also, and this is something that a later world forgot, their African allies in the south. Historians have moments of bubbling excitement when they find proofs of something they'd only guessed to be true. I almost jumped for joy when I first saw this small wooden plaque from Nubia. For it's a unique proof of something that I'd guessed, that the Christian Nubians of 7th or 8th centuries ago also took part in the old wars of religion, the Crusades against conquering Islam. And here you see the Crusader from Nubia with his cross, wearing chain mail and his sturdy steed, just as we in Europe can still see portrayals of our own Crusaders. In this old film, taken half a century ago, Nubian horsemen can still be seen in their chain mail. The Black Crusaders of 800 years ago must have looked very similar as they gathered at fortified monasteries before setting out on that disastrous venture. Safe within his mighty Cairo citadel, Saladin was waiting to annihilate them. And there came an end to Christianity in these lands, an eclipse so final and complete that the world forgot, almost till now, that Christian Nubia had ever existed. Yet distant echoes of that long-lost epic can still be caught on the winds of history and in unexpected places. The Cathedral of Magdeburg, a famous capital of medieval Germany. From here, in the year 1228, the German Emperor Frederick led out his knights on the Sixth Crusade. And a few years later, a new statue was raised to the patron saint of Magdeburg, St. Maurice. Astonishingly, but beyond question, an entirely black St. Maurice. Until then, the many statues of St. Maurice around Western Europe had invariably shown this military saint as white. But here at Magdeburg, St. Maurice suddenly became black. Unmistakably, to my mind, the Black Knight of Christian Nubia, Christ's warrior from the distant south. So here his noble figure stands to this day, certainly the most important, perhaps the most moving sculpture of an African in all the history of European art. It was created and set up in this great German cathedral to honor the fame and virtue of an African friend and ally, different in face and form, but just as surely equal in dignity and human worth.